Welcome back to our YouTube channel. You may have known us as Icon Blueprint. We have officially changed the name to Elite Agent Blueprint. If you're looking for information related to how to build your business, how to scale your business plans, technology, all that stuff, that's what we're here for. I want to introduce my partner here, Jason Hubbard. He's working with us on this project as well. We really kind of combine forces because we have a passion for helping agents out. We're agents ourselves. We're still active in the industry. I think that's a big key piece because there's a lot of people who are doing stuff and giving ideas away, but they actually don't implement them. So they're maybe really good on the tech side, or they're good at like the idea side, but when it comes to implementation, that's a big fail that we see in our industry. So Jason, give yourself a quick introduction and we'll get into our conversation here.
Okay, yeah, Jason Hubbard, real estate agent, appraiser, longtime appraiser, 25 years in the industry as an appraiser as well. So lots of real estate knowledge. But my focus nowadays is on producing and helping other agents do the same. We're both top producing agents in our market. We're icon agents at EXP. So yeah, basically what we're trying to do is help other people achieve that elite status as a real estate agent. So I mean, kicking right off,
yeah,
give me a little breakdown of what is an elite agent.
Okay, so you already mentioned icon status at EXP Realty.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like side note, we've recently made a move over to Real Broker. And so Real Broker has what they call the elite agent, and that elite agent status, you have to hit a certain milestone in order to hit that, and that allows you to earn stock back. Now, forget about this isn't a conversation about brokerages, because what I looked at and I said, okay, well, that's all fine and good. What does that equate to? The reality is, if you hit icon status, elite status, which is now our focus with the move, you're breaking $250,000 in income to do that. Mm-hmm. So I've been an agent since 2003. In 2003, the big conversation was, look, if you're going to join in real estate, you got to, your goal should be 100,000 in income or more. Inflation, anyone?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like that same goal of 100,000 back in 2003 has to be 250,000 in 2024. Mm-hmm. So the elite status or the elite agent is somebody who, and I'll just break down the numbers. I printed it off, sorry, but I didn't want to make a mistake on it. So I ran these numbers based off of a $400,000 sales price.
Pretty average in our market.
Yeah, average in our market, 400,000, 2.5% as the commission. That's what I would charge on the listing side. Obviously, we have a whole nother conversation going about what the buy side is going to look like, but that's up to me, you, and our clients, mm-hmm. and you guys with your clients. And so basically what that boils down to is roughly about 21 transactions gets you to where you hit that status. Sorry, no, it's 8 transactions, when you cap. So at the capping status, now you're getting 100% of your commission minus, a fee. And with Real, they have a $285 per transaction fee. When you pay up to $6,000 on that, you've officially hit what they call elite status. You get $16,000 in stocks. So you just paid the company, $12,000 plus 6. So you just paid them $18,000, and they give you back $21,000. Yeah. That I looked at was kind of like a no-brainer. But what ends up happening is, just do the quick math. That's 29. The numbers it's 21 and some change. So really, what you need to do is it's 30 deals.
Okay.
30 deals.
Well, and before you go too much farther into that,
yeah.
So when you talk about EXP, Icon, Elite Agent over at Real,
yeah.
What's the difference? Like, how many is one have? Do you have to do more deals for one than the other?
So EXP you did 28. Real, you're doing 29 and a half.
So essentially not really any
not
difference.
Much of a difference.
And
you're still up $3,000 in your pocket, and you got more in stock.
Exactly. So that's what I was going to say. So you do one more deal, but there's more benefits that come with that.
And I'll even take it one step back further. So before I was with EXP, I was with Keller Williams, and I used to teach this class called 36-12-3. Mm-hmm. And so the 36-12-3 was how to build the systems, the processes, what your daily lead gen looks like, so that you can do 3 deals a month, 12 months a year, to do 36 deals. And we used to always start that class and it was like, if you're doing 36 deals a year, you are a top agent in your market. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
Especially when you start to average in, we were teaching that class when the average sales price was like 250, 300. Now you put it up to 400. Your market, where you guys are watching this, could be 500,000, 600,000, could be 150,000.
Yeah.
The good news is that, that's still 30 plus transactions a year gets you major recognition in your market and puts you as an elite agent in your market, which is why I appreciated that, at least for us on Real side, that's what they named their program.
Right.
So
I mean, one more question on that. Looking at the structure for the elite agent, there's another benefit there that after you make elite agent, that you can capture another $8,000. Do you want to
for
talk
sure
about that real quick?
Yeah, so here's the shameless real plug, right? I've always believed, and here we are right now, right? So coming from contribution, so if you're giving to the agents who are in your organization, if you're giving to your company, Real is very insistent saying, look, if you're teaching every single agent inside of our brokerage, even if you're doing community work outside of your, so I was talking to my wife about this last night. It's like they actually reward you with $8,000 in stock. If I'm just out there, if I do a soup kitchen and I'm running a soup kitchen and I'm out there once a week, I can turn in that to the company and say, look, I'm giving back to my community.
That's awesome.
And they're going to say, look, you are, because they're looking for people to be not just icons or, they want them to be beacons of light, if you want to call it, inside their community, the real estate community, their local community. They just want people who have a mentality of giving back.
So, and on that note, that's the whole reason for this channel.
Correct.
So that's kind of why I wanted to come full circle with that. I want to explain that and those cultural things and what we're building over there. The whole idea is to give back. It's to our team, it's to our group, it's to the entire brokerage. But on this channel, our focus is to everybody. It doesn't matter what brokerage you're at. The idea is to help you become a top producing agent.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. We've touched on that note. I mean, did you cover pretty much all the numbers?
Yeah, all the numbers. I mean, it's pretty basic. I mean, and if anybody has any questions on that, if they're like, can you break that down for me? Just hit me up, email me, text me, drop a comment. I'll be happy to break it down and put a spreadsheet where you can put in numbers and play with it, because it just makes sense when you look at it. And really, it goes back to one of the things we teach our agents on the team, because we also run a real estate team, local real estate team. And, it's hard not to look at the commission, right? So, and like, oh, this lead came in and they're only 200,000. That's great. Yeah. The next one may be 600,000, right? And so our focus is always focus on the units.
Units.
And not the volume. Because when you focus on the units, the volume always shows up.
Exactly. That's the one thing we really teach. And I mean, I learned that early on. My first deal, I think, was $118,000, which, by the way, are always the hardest deals.
Yeah.
But what I focused on and what Lynn actually taught me back then was, dude, just do the units. If you do the units, the money will show up. So that has been our focus from the start, and it should be your focus too.
Sure.
So from that note, what CRM are you using to manage all your deals and to manage your lead generation?
Yeah, so for us, we recently made a switch over to Lofty CRM, which was Chime before. So I've had some conversation with people like, oh, I've never heard of Lofty. And I'm like, have you heard of Chime? Like, oh, I've heard of Chime.
Right.
That's where it comes from. So they did a brand change. I actually asked them why they did that recently, because I was talking to one of the reps, and they said one of the reasons why they changed from Chime to Lofty was because of Chime Bank, and they couldn't get anywhere on the first page. So as people were looking for them, they just kept seeing Chime Bank instead of Chime Technologies.
Yeah.
So they're just Lofty. They just changed it. So that makes sense. We were with KV Core. Let me rephrase that. Let me really start over. We were with Follow Up Boss for a while. Then we moved over to Infusionsoft. So we're going back years now. Like we're talking like, I'm going back to like 2015, 2016 as I'm saying this. Then we went to Brivity, and we were actually with Brivity for quite a few years.
I liked Brivity.
Brivity was nice. I liked it. It looked good, worked good. Had a lot of back end functionality that was really good from a customer service perspective. So I think we're getting closer to being, Lofty's allowing us to rebuild that easier than what KV Core did. Then we moved over to KV Core, but right now we're with Lofty, and what I'm finding with Lofty is it's more versatile than anything I've used before, and it's open rates are higher. Natural CEO, like I haven't even put a second into SEO, and I get like these organic leads quite often.
I get them too.
And I wasn't getting that with KV Core.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of it, and I mean, I know you really geek out on this stuff, but the ability when you open up that box and then you start implementing your own stuff into it, the ability to build out within it, and to me is awesome. Now, if you're a new agent and you don't have that ability, what you really need to do is you got to find somebody to team up that can help you with that, somebody that specializes in that. Part of the reason I team with Lynn is because of that, is what he brings to the table in those aspects. I just don't have the capability to do that part myself. I can learn the CRM inside and out, but the coding and all that stuff, that's where you really excel. And the fact that you can do that in Lofty is way beyond any of the other CRMs that I've seen.
All right, so put yourself back in. So as an end user of Lofty versus kind of the building user who, Jason gives me tips, I build them, right? So like, hey, I was in here, I was trying to do this. Can we do this? I jump in, we figure it out, we build it, right? Mm-hmm. But on your perspective, how has your daily lead gen and just your follow-up and all that, how has that changed from KV Core to Lofty?
It's changed drastically just in the amount of time I have to spend lead generating. The things that you can do in Lofty and the way we have it set up with between Zapier and the triggers and the campaigns and the AI, the way that it's set up is vastly different than what we had at KV Core. So as a new agent, you may be able to open up KV Core and just start going right away. Mm-hmm. There's a little more setup to Lofty, but it's unlimited. And where it saves me time every day is I used to have 100 tasks every day when I opened up my CRM.
And half of them are crap.
And half of them are junk. And I would just have to keep going through and going through and going through. Yeah. So when we switched over to Lofty, and then once we got all integrated and everything set up, I literally have like 2 or 3 tasks a day. I have AI on the back end taking care of a lot of stuff for me. I have campaigns set up that take a lot of stuff for me. I have the ability to segment out different leads, and then it tells me when they need to be contacted, and then I can open up that list and hit call and just go down the list of people that need to get contacted.
Yeah.
So it's saving me so much time. That's a huge benefit.
Yeah, because I think one of the biggest irritants for me with not just KV Core, it was the same with Brivity, it was the same with Infusionsoft, it's the same with every system I've ever used, was the only way to remind you, so you have a good conversation, right? Your buyer calls you or a seller calls you, like, this lead's smoking, like, I need to follow up in 2 days. So you'd go in, you'd drop the task in there. I always build campaigns around tasks so I don't forget. Mm-hmm. That way it just kind of keeps popping up and reminding you, hey, this is a hot lead. You should be reaching out every 2 days. And so 2 days later, you go into your system, like you said, you got 100 tasks, and there was never really, Brivity does kind of where they've got the priority where you could sort by priority.
Yeah.
But they were still, everything was mixed in together. So your clerical tasks were mixed in with your follow-up tasks, were mixed in with your, hey, check in on this lead, is it any good tasks?
Yeah.
Because, what we've noticed is kind of a best practices is lead comes in, hit them up. Obviously, if if they answer the phone, that's great. If we're talking to them, they go on high priority immediately, especially depending on what their time frame is. Now, we put them on high priority right to begin with because that conversation instantly goes to, I'm going to set you up on a search, I'm going to send you some properties, and then you want to keep them in Lofty, in my opinion, because Lofty has that lead score. Mm-hmm. And so you want to know that they're opening that stuff up.
Yeah.
And the only thing they're really missing is the coming soon.
Yeah, just to pause right there, you bring up lead score. So,
right.
and if you don't have Lofty, you probably have no idea what we're talking about. So just to touch on that, every lead in the system has a score. So the more they open stuff, the more they reply, the higher their score goes. So where this becomes huge is, and it's automatically updating it. So if you were in one of these other CRMs, you would be changing, in KV Core, you'd be changing the star system, right? In Brivity, you'd be changing it to whether they were hot or cold or whatever.
You would change their pipeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in Lofty, it's got an automated lead score. And so if you've got good contact info, the lead score starts at one spot. If you're sending them stuff and it's going through, the lead score goes up. If they're opening stuff, the lead score goes up.
And as their lead score hits certain like milestones,
triggers.
You can build triggers to say, hey, dude, you need to reach out to so-and-so because their lead score is now at 90.
That's one trigger. You could set up a trigger for campaigns, right? I mean, there's lots of different ways. And those things, what they're doing is they're saving time. And if you're a producing agent, which is what we're trying to do here, you need your time.
Yeah.
You need your time for those important people. You don't need to be wasting your time on people who are not going to answer.
Exactly.
That's if they're not answering, their lead score is down really low. That's not where your time is. At that point, what we're doing is AI is taking care of those people who are not responding.
Right. Yeah.
They're still getting reached out to, but Anna, the AI bot, is taking care of it.
So, yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So inside of the CRM, everything we're doing, back to this conversation of elite, it's one thing to say I'm going to do, everybody can sit down on a piece of paper and I can sit here and I can write a business plan and go, I do this, 30 deals a year, done. Now, the reality between writing it down and actually implementation is where I think most agents fail. And most agents fail, in my opinion, because of not lack of trying, maybe sometimes, definitely sometimes a lack of grit and just being able to grind it out and understand that what I'm doing today really works. But I think the biggest failure spot is really narrowing down and saying, inside my 30 deals, you have to understand if that's your goal, right? 30 deals. You are not going to get 30 deals from one lead source.
No.
So in your opinion, what would you say your top 3 lead sources that you would say, if you're not doing these 3 things, at least 3, because in my opinion, you should have 4 or 5. One of those being your past client sphere of influence. So if you've never sold a house before, that's everybody who you know. And even if you're 19 years old and you just got a real estate license, you just graduated from high school. Everybody who went to high school probably lives in a house.
Yep.
Which means that's somebody you could add to your database. So that sphere in past client is absolutely has to be one of your tiers of your business. What would you say like an additional 2 or 3 would be that agents are really dropping the ball on?
So, well, if you're talking about like one's agents are dropping the ball on, or are you talking about mine? Like what would be mine?
I would say start with yours and then ones that you think agents are really missing out on.
So the top one by far is a program that we started, that you developed, and we worked on together, but mainly you developed it. We have a YouTube lead generation program where we're integrating YouTube videos with a niche. So it doesn't have to be any particular niche. You pick your niche, you develop your videos around that niche, and it integrates with lead generation from Facebook. So that's a program that we do. And I mean, heck, we've done 5 deals just in the last couple months on that lead source alone. And it's a newer one for us that was developed. So as time goes on, that number is going to skyrocket. Just in the last 2 months, it's skyrocketed.
Yeah.
That by far is my favorite. And some of these you have to leverage more than one thing, right? You can do Facebook leads all day. You can get 100 leads. You can convert 1 or 2 or 3, right? Or you can get specific with it, find a niche, make videos about it. Everybody's watching videos nowadays.
Well, and that's a perfect point, right? So for instance, this channel is going to, anybody who's watching this video right now, they got here by searching for something that was missing in their business, and somehow this popped up in their thing. What we're doing with that niche is we're putting it in front of people who opted in. So I would say the majority of our viewers are actually, we're putting the video in front of them.
And they're reaching out to us.
And they're reaching out to us. Less than, it's less SEO and it's more, kind of retargeting and organic.
Yep.
Yeah, so I would say that's definitely a good lead source that a lot of agents are, because everybody, like you said, does Facebook ads or Google Click. And in my opinion, a big failure for a lot of agents on that piece is their lack of systems. And so this is where we go back to Lofty. Is it funneled in? Are you working the database properly? Because how many agents have we talked to? We've interviewed all these agents for the team, and they're like, "Oh, I paid for all these leads, and they suck." And they're like, "Well, what's your follow up?" "Well, if I try to call them like 2-3 times, and then if they don't reach out, they don't respond, I just throw the lead away." And I'm like, "Dude."
I think what I find a lot for agents who aren't producing, they think they're putting in the work, but they just don't know the right work to put in.
Right.
I mean, that's probably the most common thing. And I mean, look, we all went through it at some point.
Yeah, because
you went through it, I went through it. You don't know what to do. You don't know till you know.
And you don't know that you need to keep pushing. You just assume that you're like, well, I guess that lead sucks. It takes hundreds of leads. It takes other people telling you, no, like keep driving. Like sometimes you have to call 18 times. And I'm not saying 18 times in like 2 days. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
But, we've built the system to where it's like, it hits them hard.
Although I'd rather you
and
be
then
that
paces
guy
them down.
than the guy that does
Well,
it all.
true. But we pace it down, and it on its like programmatically goes through this system, and it funnels down and it slows down the amount of follow-up, specifically because you have to listen to the silence. Because when we were ramming people through texts and all that stuff, how many times did we get people, "Dude, I haven't responded yet, don't you get the hint?" Not in those specific words, but sometimes with a little bit more explicitives involved. Yeah. But so it's like, okay, well, I'm listening to your silence, and maybe you're just not ready. Yeah. So
we've had leads pop in after years that never had said anything. All of a sudden, they pop in and they're ready to do something. And I had one reach out to me the other day who's been getting my stuff for the last year, and he's like, "I love your persistence. I want to use you when I'm ready." And
like, I haven't done a damn thing.
And it's my system's been doing the whole thing for me. But the moral of the story is I put this guy in the system a year ago. He's been in the system ever since, just getting market reports and market snapshots. And what do you know? He bought a house in another state and he needs to sell his house, but he doesn't need to do it till the end of the year because that's closer to when his one's going to close out there. But he's already announced me as his agent. So,
well, I had a call like that. I had a closing a few weeks ago. Same thing. Silent. All of a sudden, she inside Lofty, it's got, it's a big button. And so she's opening properties all this time. And there's a big little window and it says request a showing. She requested a showing, showed it to her. She bought that house.
That's another thing I really want to mention about Lofty. And by the way, so you can get more info on Lofty. Just click the link above and you can watch one of the prior videos.
Yeah.
But one of the major things I like about Lofty is something as simple as their market reports, right? So you're talking about property alerts, which is great too. It has a big thing to click on. In market reports, these go out for us. We send them out monthly. And so every month our seller leads get a market report, and it makes it real clear. Click here if you want to see the value of your home.
I get
how many a week. Every time they go out, me and him are messaging back and forth. Man, I got 25 home valuation requests. Like, crazy. This is crazy. How often did you have that happen in KB Core?
Never.
And it's not a KB Core bashing session. I mean, we're just basically comparing them. It happened occasionally in KB Core.
Yeah.
It's something as simple.
I'm getting more per week than I got per year.
Yeah. But it's something as simple as where they place it in the email.
Yeah. Is it in their face? Like, oh, request a CMA. And then we've built triggers to where we've got video campaigns that we built. So, okay, you requested the CMA. A lot of times those people who request the CMA, and this is where agents get impatient too, they were like, they want to go for the kill. You got to go for the kill, but you also have to listen. So I'll send the CMA, I'll do it, I'll send it. If I don't get a response right away, they go on a video nurture campaign that once again puts my face to the name, lets them know who I am. It's a little bit more specific to selling their home. And it starts with how to prep your home ready for sale. So it's instant value.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing that we've been able to really rebuild with Lofty, and is just that way to add value, but to do automatic retargeting inside of our database versus everybody on the same plan. Because that's I think the biggest failure of most CRMs. So wrapping up, what would you say besides the Facebook program that we've done? What would you say would be if somebody's like, look, I'm struggling right now, things aren't kind of clicking with what I'm trying to do. Number one lead source you would go after right now, besides the video Facebook integration piece?
Well, do you mean, so there's different types, right? So people with money, and then there's people that don't have money. So you either have time or money, right?
Right.
So new agents, they don't have money typically, so they have time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so if I'm talking to a new agent, I would probably say, I would be generating my own leads, and I would be sharing them out to groups within Facebook. I used to get hundreds of leads a month doing it this way for free. I built my database up starting out doing that for free, and it was very productive. And but at the end of the day, you have to do it every single day. If you're not doing it every single day, it's not going to work. So to be a producing agent, whatever lead generation you use, you have to make it a daily task to lead generate, a daily task to follow up. And if you're not doing that, then you're not going to succeed. So that's my answer as far as free. If I'm paying, I'm going with Google local service ads, which we also have partners that specialize in that as well.
Yeah, and we can hook you guys up.
What about you?
Me? You just took all my answers.
Oh,
no, but honestly, I would be, if I was to pick like a top thing besides what we've already kind of talked about, now that you put me on the spot, I would be, and this is, I'm preemptive saying I built my entire business off of cold calling. And right now, as we're watching inventory grow across the country, if I was really that hungry, I don't have a budget. So once again, you either have money or you have time. So if I have time, I'm going to Zillow and I'm just scouring for FSBOs.
Okay.
And by putting them into the CRM, whatever.
So you're not paying Zillow. Let's make that clear.
Not paying Zillow.
Okay.
I'm going there as a consumer, and I'm going to just manually put all those for sale by owner people into my database.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm going to put them in the database and then make the call is because if I put them in the database, I log in today on Tuesday and I try to put them in. If they're already in there, the system's going to say, hey, this person's already in here.
Yeah.
And the importance of that is that you're not calling people because trust me, I've done this. Like, dude, I just talked to you yesterday. Crap. You look like an ass. So this allows you to not be calling people who you've already talked to about their home because maybe they put it on for sale by owner 2 weeks ago, thought they had a contract, took it off. Now they put it back on. Now you're calling them again as if it's the first time. That way you hit it and you go, oh, I'm just going to follow up with them. So that's what I would be doing is, trying to hit up for sale by owners as my way to do it for free because you're picking up the phone, you're getting face to face. I would say if you're driving down the street and you see a for sale by owner sign, don't pull over and take a picture of it. Don't write down the phone number. Go knock on the darn door. Go knock on the door. I would take it one step further and say, this is being on a budget, right? Trying to do everything for free. Everybody lives in a point where their house is, and most people don't leave a 2 to 5 mile radius of their home. So what I would be doing, and we live in the Phoenix metro area, highly dense, highly populated. I understand some people who are watching this live out in,
Middle of nowhere,
more of a sprawling, like a spacious suburb. So, you've got to build this, but I would just take a point where you go in your MLS, drop your address, and I would just take that circle, where you can do the circle, and I'd be like, just go out and just draw a circle and say, daily, show me all the expireds and canceleds inside this circle. The idea is you want about 5 to 10 a day.
So you set that up in your MLS?
You set that up in your MLS.
Yeah, brilliant.
You have it email you every day. You have a stack of letters that you print off that are pre-printed and ready to go with a little bit of information about you. And you go door knock those.
Okay.
And that's a 5 to 10 home a day way to door knock.
Okay. Well, I mean, honestly,
that's a whole nother system.
Yeah, we'll make a whole video on this at one point. So we touched on a bunch of little topics today. Basically wanted to give you a general idea of what we're trying to do here with this channel. We don't want to give you everything today, but we've used up a pretty good amount of time. So we'll go ahead and cut it short. We'll leave you with, if you want to watch some of the prior videos, check out some of the end cards at the end of the video. If you like what you got so far, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so you can see what we have coming next.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. I'm Jason Hubbard.
Len Nevin.
And we'll see you on the next video.
All right. Thanks, everyone.